training at all, so be kind. So we're gonna start just, let me see over here. So where to print your mailers, like he was talking about, I use PLS Printing, Nate, he's great. It's a family company out in Clearwater, so it's about a 15-minute drive from here. So he's great, like he said, he was able to get these out for me within the day. You can also go to Staples or Office Depot. I know they also offer same-day printing for an excessive amount of mailers. I know it does cost a little bit more to get the nicer paper, but that's what I would recommend, just so when people get them in the mail, they're not crumpled or anything like that. So I use PLS Printing, but I'm sure Staples and Office Depot also are great options. So whenever you go to start this, you're going to go on the USPS website. This is going to be just the main page once you go on the USPS.com. First thing I would recommend doing is making an account. So you see in the corner it says, "Hi Angelina." This is going to be a business account. So whenever you go to create an account, it's going to ask what business you work for. I put Real Broker. It's very easy to just make an account. So once you are setting your routes and you go to print them, you're not going to be able to do it if you do not have an account. So I would recommend first thing, make an account. And then once you're on the main page, you see I do have the cruisers. This is a very user-friendly. If you guys want to take pictures, go ahead. It's going to tell you exactly where to click on everything. And if anyone wants this emailed to them, I can also do that as well. So you're going to go put your cruiser right over the business, and it's going to open up. And this isn't clicking anything. You're just going to lay your browser, and you're going to click the Every Door Direct Mail. And once you click the Every Door Direct Mail, it's going to bring you to where you're going to be searching for your routes. So for this example, I'm going to be doing the Promenade, which is in Lutz. I mean, if you want to farm a specific area, you can't type in Lutz or Odessa or Brandon or Harbor Island. You're going to have to put in a specific address for it to populate the route. So you can go, let's say you're doing Harbor Island and you don't have an exact address. You can always type in Harbor Island homes for sale and just copy whichever address pulls up, and you're just gonna paste it into here. You need to type in a full address. It's not gonna work if you just are vague with it. So for the example, I did exactly what I said. For Promenade, I typed in homes for sale and Promenade in Lutz. It pulled up a few, I copied the address, and I pasted it in here. You can kind of see right here where these pinks are highlighted. Those are gonna be like the generic routes. We'll get into that a little bit later. But you're gonna type in your address for the area you wanna farm, and then you're gonna go ahead and search it. So that is the exact address that I have in. So if you see, like we were talking about with all of the pinks, those are all the routes within Lutz. So if you click the address, you notice it highlights in blue. So all of this, that's going to be the route for the Promenade. Now, if you look over here, it's the one route. You can choose more than one route. So I know Vincent, Ellie, they hit, I believe, 3 or 4 routes when they're doing their direct mail. You can add them in this process. Like right here is when you would add those. I'm just making it easy for everyone today. I'm just doing the one route. So you can see the one route, it's going to be 702 pieces of mail. So I printed 703 pieces of mail. This is what we're sending out. So this is just going to be super generic, front, QR code in the back. So I have all of those printed out, and you see for $156, I feel like that's pretty fair for the amount of mail that you are sending out to people. So that one specific route is going to be 702 mail pieces for $156. You're going to click the next step. So now you're going to be, this is where if you don't have an account, it's going to stop you. And it's going to say you're going to have to make an account. Once you make an account, it's going to start all the way back from the beginning. So that's why I would recommend making an account first. You're going to add the drop-off date. You're going to select the company name that you're working for, so Real Broker. And then you're going to have to understand their terms and agreements. So the drop-off date, I have this one for tomorrow, July 2nd. If you're a few days off, it's really not the end of the world, but I would recommend trying to do it on that exact date just so you don't have any issues with the postal workers. And I believe you can do this to up to 30 days. So you can do it up to 30 days in advance. See right here, you have the date for tomorrow, Real Brokerage, super easy. And then it's going to finalize your order. So you can pay online. I've never paid online because if something were to happen, like you get into an accident or the mailers burst into flames, you've already paid online. So I just pay at the post office. I've always done it that way. It's never really been an issue. And the prices are very similar. I go in, it's $156 exactly. So usually no errors with that. So that's the easy part of just getting it online, figuring out your route, and getting the order placed online. So now you have to print these forms, and now we have to actually build the bricks. So before I get into that, it's a little confusing, so I really want everyone to understand. We're gonna get into a little bit more, but this is what one of the bricks look like. Everything has to be stacked in packs of 100. So I have 702 mailers. I have 7 bundles of 100. 6 of 100 and 1 of 702. I mean of 102, but I'm gonna get into that a little bit later. So if you scroll down, it's gonna allow you to print the form. So it's gonna be 4 forms that you're gonna get from doing your direct mail. I also wanted to leave a note. So let's say you're routing an area in Orlando, you're gonna have to take it to the local post office of that area. So for this, I'm gonna have to drive to Lutz. We drive to Lutz for Vincent Ellie's mailers all the time. If you're doing Brandon, it's gonna give you the specific address of where you're dropping these off to. If you go to the one by the airport, you're gonna have to carry this thing all the way back to your car. So just keep that in mind. Once you scroll down to print the forms, it is gonna provide you the exact address of the post office, which I think is great. So these are what the forms look like. There's gonna be 4 of them. This bottom one is gonna be the key one that we're using. I'm gonna show a little bit later on, but you're gonna print all of these forms. So you see in the corner, you're gonna print them. You're gonna print all the forms, just regular, and I think I have them right here. So these are gonna be the 4 forms that you just printed, okay? These 3 are gonna go with one of your mailers, and we'll deal with that later. So this is gonna be attached to each 100 stack. Now only 1 printed, so I'm gonna have to print some more because 1 has to go on each stack. Since I printed 1, I'm going to be printing, this form gets filled out, bundled up into 100 flyers, but you're gonna have to print 6. For this example, we're doing 700, so I need 7 of these, 1 for each 100. Does that make sense to everybody? Okay, great. So I'm printing out. So this is gonna be the facing slip. It says it on the top, Every Door Direct Mail facing slip, 1 for every 100 flyers. It's going to be banded on every stack. For today, we're doing 7. And every time you send out direct mail, it needs to be structured in a specific way for the postal worker to accept it. We've had times where the postal workers had an attitude that day, and it's wrong, and I'm not taking it, and you have to do it a specific way. They've given us grief before, so I just want everyone to know how to do it right. So when you go into it, you're feeling confident, and it's a quick process, and you're not getting shunned at the door. Okay, and I just really want everyone, I've never really explained it like this, so I really want everyone to get a good understanding of this. The mailers are separated into stacks of 100 with the facing slip on top. Just like this, like I showed you guys, you're gonna rubber band them together. We have a bunch of rubber bands in the back on the bottom. Just any basic rubber band will work. I know Vince likes to do a few because sometimes they break, but I've had no problems with that yet. So this is how you're gonna fill them out. So they are blank when you first get them, but it's super easy. All you wanna fill out is the date you're dropping them off, total number of mail pieces per bundle, and the total number of bundles. So for the example, this one, I have the date, 100 per bundle and 1 of 7. You get your 1 stack, and then you're gonna do that with every bundle. So see, this one is 2 of 7. I have this one that says the date, 100 in this bundle, 2 of 7. And you're gonna go so on, so forth for the 3 of 7, 4 of 7. Each of these are gonna be stacks of 100, 5 of 7, 6 of 7. Most of the time when you do your mailers, this one just so happens to be 702. Most of the time it'll be 733 or 1010 or whatever. You're not gonna wanna make a stack of 10 pieces of paper. If it's over 40 or it's a bigger stack, then you could make another stack. But for me, I just add them into the last stack. So when you go over here, the date, this one, all the extras go into the last bundle. So if you have 718 mailers, the last one's gonna be 118. If you have 702 mailers, the last one's gonna have the extras attached to it. Last facing slip will include any leftovers. So that's this one, 102 in this bundle, and this is gonna be 7 of 7. So It's super easy, but there's a lot of steps to this. And yeah, that was basically it. But I do want to show you guys how I'm stacking these, because this is going to be kind of the meat and potatoes of it. And I have Vince here to help me. So here's your stack 1 all the way through 6. And Vince has my last one. Yeah, so here's my last one, 7 of 7. And here is going to be all of them stacked up by 100s, okay? So these are all my 702 mailers.
Rubber bands.
They're right here behind you. But here's
so grab me the.
Okay. So once you get them all banded up like this, you're gonna have to turn it into a brick, which is where we use the multiple rubber bands, because they have broken before in our past experience. So you are gonna wanna just put them up as a brick. This is how you're gonna bring them to the post office. When you go to the post office, if you're buying stamps or you're just dropping off your mail, they actually give these out for free. So if you say, hey, obviously you're not gonna just keep them forever, but hey, can I take a few of these for my mail? So they'll give these to you so you can carry them. This is just an example. So like I say, whenever Vince and Ellie do their mailers, it's like 4 of those big stacks, depending on the route. So that's why you do want a bucket like that, because if you're bringing in a lot of mailers, it's, you don't want to have to, the rubber band breaking, you're dropping it, the papers go everywhere. It's just a nightmare, so you don't want to deal with that. And then I do want to go back, I didn't include it in the PowerPoint, but whenever we did discuss the other 3 pages, when you printed everything out, so whenever you go to the post office with this bin, you're going to want to bring your other pages attached with 1 extra mailer. Whenever you bring that to the post office, they're gonna weigh that to see how much it weighs, just so they can compare the prices to make sure everything is done accurately. So you are gonna wanna staple that to the back of the other 3 forms, like so. Also on this, this isn't the one I have filled out. This one I have filled out. So this is very explanatory. So this is gonna be just a blank one, but you just wanna put in here, like I had to put my signature, my name, and my phone number, just so if anything happens, they can contact you. And then you want to check right there where it says every door direct mail for retail. You do want to check that as well. And then I did 1 big bundle. That's what that is. So I did 1 bundle, and it's 702 mail pieces. So you're going to have this, your stapled forms with the 1 mailer at the end, and you have that right on top. And you just carry this whole thing into the post office, and you're gonna hand the postal worker, say I have direct mail, and you're gonna hand them this. They're gonna rip this off, and they're gonna weigh it. They're gonna take these forms, make sure everything's accurate, they're gonna make sure it's banded properly, and then they will take payment. So at that point, like he said, whenever they go into, they're gonna just have 1 for each mailbox on every route. And like he said, if someone calls and says, stop sending me mail, I'm tired of getting your mail, I don't want to be on your mail anymore, it's on this form right here. On the bigger forms that we had, the ones that you're making the copies of, do not deliver address. So if someone calls, stop, I don't want any more mailers, which I haven't experienced, you would put their name and their address down, and I would keep a note of that, because if you're farming an area and you farm it once, you might as well just not farm it at all, in my opinion. This is gonna be something where for 700 pieces of mail for under $160, that would be something you can do monthly. You can do a smaller route, and you can do it bi-weekly, whatever you see fit. But if you're just gonna do 1 mailer, you're not farming the area. You're gonna have to be consistently doing this on a regular basis for it to work. If you send it once, the odds of someone calling you off that 1 is rare. So you wanna keep on sending them, so they see your face. And for these, you can really get creative about them. I use Canva. I don't know if anyone is unfamiliar with Canva. You can do an about me, you can do a market update, you can just do a little bit about the neighborhood, what's going on. If there was a recent review that you received from someone within that route, you can include that. There's so many different things you can use. You don't just have to go to the just listed, just sold, pending. You can do a client review of something. Hey, this was a nightmare, and we got 5-star review from it, and just little things. You can do smaller postcards for a little bit cheaper price. You can really look around. So the first thing I would recommend would be finding a route. If you go on the USPS website where I was showing you for the addresses, you can type in a few different addresses just to kind of see what the pricing's looking like. Because even my boyfriend yesterday, when I was going through it with him, he was asking, well, what if you only had like $100? You know, I said, well, if you only had $100, I wouldn't go with that route I just picked out. I would go for a smaller route. They have routes that are $500. They have routes that are $80. They have smaller areas. So if, you know, you just have to find what area you want to market. Most of you already have a wheelhouse, an area that you are marketing. So I would just stick with that. And, you know, at first you don't have to just market the whole zip code that's $1,000, you know, start somewhere small. Like for this example, $700 for $150, I feel like is pretty reasonable. And if you're consistent with it, and if you get, you know, you just stay consistent with it, and people will start to call you, people will start to reach out, and it's definitely a lot easier than sitting here with the envelopes and writing return address and their name, and then half of them gets returned to sender, and it's a whole process. So this is just a really great way to market yourself. Direct mail is not dead. I know everything's online. Everyone wants to do sponsored everything online. Everyone has a mailbox, everyone gets their mail, and there's just so many ways to get creative with it and to get in your community. And I was even talking with Ellie about some different ideas, and like, you know, if you want to have like your title or your mortgage or someone else on the other side, and you can kind of go half with them on the price. It's just really whatever you guys want to do. So this is just the kind of the meat and potatoes on how to do the on how to do the direct mail. If any one of you want this specific PowerPoint that you can revert back to as a step-by-step, just give me your email and I can send it to any one of you guys just so you can have it for the future. So yeah, does there anyone have any questions about it?
Would you be able to, pardon my ignorance, would you be able to post the PowerPoint in the Empire Group Facebook
Well, we can put
page?
this, I'll put this video in the,
Perfect.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'll kind of mess around with Canva too and see if we're able to do that. But yeah, honestly, it's pretty self-explanatory. I know the paperwork gets a little confusing, just having to make copies and having to band them all together. But once you do them once, it's super, super easy. And if anyone has any questions or they're like kind of having a bump in the road where they're unsure of what to do next, I mean, most of you have my number. I can give out my number to anyone that needs it. And I'd be more than happy to assist anyone in just getting their first bundle set out. I just think it's a great way to market yourself. It's a great way to farm the area. If you're already in a community, I just think it's a great way to stay relevant. And they say most people know a few realtors, and they don't go to the one they know the most. They go to the one they see the most. So.
What does it look like when they receive it? Is it just like a regular?
So when they receive it, it looks, you ever get stuff in the mail for like HVAC people, it's literally going to be this, and then they have the stamp right there. So this is this is it. When they get their, yeah.
This is what they get in the mail. They get this.
Not like in an envelope.
Nope.
They get it just like this. The whole point of that is that the mailman gets that small little stack, and he's putting one in every mailbox. It's every door direct. So he takes the rubber band off and then every single.
You should see the one I just made. It looks so
A
good.
lot of times they'll put their mail and they'll do this when they prepare it. So they, you know.
But it's not envelope.
That's what they literally get in
It's
the mail.
just flat open. And that we made on Canva. You can go on Canva, create templates. You can make whatever you want it to be. You can put your face on it. You don't have to put your face on it. You can put links, QR codes, whatever you want to do. I even had one that I made on my computer that it was just like a normal mailer. And then on the back, it was things to do in the area. So if someone, let's say they're not going to buy the house, I'm just going to throw it away. Oh, wait, honey, we could take the kids, and then they put it on their fridge, you know, or they do whatever with it. Because then at that point, they're not throwing it, oh, I don't want that. You know, oh, that has some good dates on there, and we should do that. I didn't know they were doing that this weekend. Let's put it on the fridge, and let's just keep this. You know what I mean? And then you could even put your name or your picture at the bottom or your brokerage at the bottom so people know. Just some ideas, so yeah. Thanks.
That's key.
Yep.
Angelina, that was excellent.
And I talked thank you guys. And I talked so fast, so I already know I was probably talking so fast when I was doing it, but.
No, that was excellent.